The world of F1 is heating up after a wild event in Saudi Arabia, which had its fair share of twists and turns. Today, we take a look at what we found out watching the proceedings there, as well as reports from Alain Prost that Daniel Ricciardo left Renault because he was afraid of the team's future. We got all that and more coming at you next. Firstly, the pushback against Saudi sporting events. It's becoming an increasingly common sight in sports to see athletes protesting during an event in Saudi Arabia. This time it was Formula One drivers taking their stand, led by Lewis Hamilton, who added the pride flag to his black helmet in support of the LGBTQ community. Saudi Arabian laws restricting homosexual relationships have been the topic of a lot of debate surrounding the race, and so it was no surprise to see a driver taking a stand. The harsh reality is this: as long as there is money to be had, these kinds of events will keep going on, despite the cries from fans and competitors about human rights violations that have been the topic of conversation in recent years. I, for one, would like to focus on the great driving we saw this weekend, but money-making decisions seem to keep getting in the way here. Let's try our best and get into the action now. Next, the event that had everything. The F1 race in Saudi Arabia had just about everything: thrills, controversy, drama, and tons more. The race centered mainly around the title picture, with Max Verstappen and Lewis Hamilton playing the role of protagonists throughout the proceedings. Saudi Arabia was the second to last race left and didn't disappoint in setting the stage to the grand finale in Abu Dhabi either. Max was pretty stingy in letting Lewis in when he would try and pass, with Lewis calling the Red Bull driver effing crazy and commenting on some dangerous driving. But how did things shake out now that the dust has settled? Well, it's safe to say that the race in Abu Dhabi just got even more interesting as Lewis and Max entered it in a dead tie for first. Next up, Lewis versus Max for all the marbles. While Max looked to be the favorite heading into the day and looked to be the stronger driver throughout the early laps, eventually things shifted, with the two colliding in a strange series of events about midway through the race. Lewis was unsure about what Max was doing, which was giving up position following a penalty on his behalf. The way he went about it was very unordinary though, and as a result, Lewis rammed into the backside of his vehicle. Lewis and Max would end up swapping the lead once or twice more, but the moment was as dramatic as it was huge. Lewis was able to control the latter part of the race, and more importantly, the two drivers were tied heading into the final race of the season. What should we have in mind heading into Abu Dhabi though? Now let's look into a slight advantage for Red Bull. In the event of a tie following the result of the final race, Max will actually hold on to the title to win, and if Lewis is able to complete the late surge and pick up enough points to win, then he will make history for his amazing streak of title victories over the last near decade. The two drivers have been balancing on a knife's edge for the majority of the campaign, and tensions between the two men, as well as their respective teams, have begun to boil over. Collisions have become commonplace between the two men, and verbal exchanges even more frequent. Max wasn't even fully out of his car before he was hurling insults Hamilton's way in Saudi Arabia, and you can bet that things are only going to get worse as we head into a winner-takes-all situation soon. Everyone better buckle up for some fireworks. Worried about a messy ending? Mercedes team principal Toto Wolff has gone on record to say that he is worried that things are going to get ugly in the title clincher coming up, and that he hopes that the correct precautions are taken to prevent such silliness from keeping fans from witnessing the best possible ending to a roller coaster of a title race between Max and Lewis. While Wolff's team has had a part in the drama, no doubt, hopefully both sides are willing and able to bury the hatchet and at least keep the aggression respectful for the finale. Red Bull and Mercedes will have a lot of eyes on them as well, as they will be the ones with the most riding on a positive result, and so I would be surprised if they tried anything too fishy, but you never know with how much things have escalated since even a few months ago, so I guess we'll just have to wait and see how this all shakes out. Daniel Ricciardo left Renault because he was scared. Alain Prost didn't hold back recently when talking about why Daniel Ricciardo left Renault last year and decided to shed some light on the issue for those that were curious. The four-time world champ Prost said that Daniel left because he didn't have confidence in the team's future and was afraid of what they may become. Daniel spent the 2019 and 2020 season with then Renault, now Alpine, before leaving for McLaren this past year. Daniel didn't seem keen on another tough season with Renault, so he chose to go to a team with slightly more experience and a better engine, something nobody can blame him for. But how's it worked out? Next, we dive into Alain's intentions and his thoughts on Daniel now. Alain seemed to be sharing this news to provide insight and not to shame Daniel or turn people against him. If anything, Alain seems sympathetic to the decisions that Daniel has had to make and probably is able to relate to his problems as a decorated driver himself from back in the day. He even spoke about how surprised he's been that Daniel hasn't taken off and excelled more at McLaren, with the fact that fellow McLaren driver Norris drives the team car better than Daniel has been this season. It all goes to show you that sometimes the fit is more important than the machinery, and so maybe things at Alpine weren't so bad after all when you look back at his time there. Then again, maybe Daniel's just in a rough spot of his career and needs time to dig himself out of the many hole he's dug himself into of late. Alain Prost made it clear that Daniel fled because of a desire to win was a nice gesture, especially since it doesn't make Alain's side look all that great, and you have to think that this may potentially help Daniel out in the long run now that the details surrounding his sudden departure are a bit less murky. be. Regardless, I'm sure Daniel will be much happier when some results come rolling in, rather than having former friends and teammates come to his defense. Now, Red Bull's Horner takes a shot at F1. Have you thought that Max Verstappen was mad about the penalty decisions at Saudi Arabia? Then you should take a second to speak with Red Bull team principal Christian Horner, who said that Formula One missed Charlie Whiting, former race director in Saudi Arabia. The quote comes in response to what he feels is an overregulating issue going on throughout the races, and that Max was just the latest victim of a fast-growing issue. Red Bull haven't been shy about voicing their concerns for the way they are being officiated on the track these last few weeks, and some would argue that there is a case to be made. This isn't the time for teams such as Red Bull to falter, and so they will have to simply adjust instead of complaining about officiating if they hope to capture the crown next weekend. Next, getting another American in F1. Formula One racing has been capturing the attention of many in recent years, due in part to the Netflix show covering the sport, which has been tremendously popular as a docuseries in its own right. That was on full display when F1 came to Texas, and fans showed out in numbers, surprising even those that believed it was only a matter of time before the sensation reached the US. The timing was quicker than most could have anticipated. Now that a fan base is being established, it is becoming time to look ahead at getting more Americans into the sport as drivers, something that surprisingly has been few and hard to come by. There has never been a better time to capture the hearts of Americans in F1, and so I can't wait until the driver steps up and claims the mantle. And that's it for our video today. If you enjoyed it, don't forget to leave a like, as it helps out our channel a ton. Leave a comment down below and let us know what you're looking forward to watching out for as the season comes to a thrilling conclusion, and what you felt about the race in Saudi Arabia. Also, don't forget to subscribe and hit the bell icon to get notified whenever a video goes up. That's all for me, guys. Bye.